Thank you to all the organizers for inviting me here. I'm really glad to be a part of ECOWEEK, which I didn't know before, for introducing me this event. And yeah, I'm really enjoying my stay in Prishtina. So, my name is Masha, and I'm one of the co-founders of group ProstoRož, which is now working for 10 years already. I was trained actually as an architect. I was studying architecture in Ljubljana, and I can say that during my studies we learned quite well how to make good architecture, how to make furniture, how to make urban plans. And we did quite a lot of visits around Europe, around the world, where we were watching all these good architectures. But on all these excursions, we realized that it's not just about the architecture and about the structures. Whenever we were in a city, we started to notice some other things which triggered us and which we liked. So it was sometimes the smell, sometimes it was the sound or the colors or some chaos, for example, as in Prishtina, or many other things which trigger your senses and give to a city a special character. So we started asking, like, why do we feel good in a certain city, or what are the things that make you feel good, or, for example, what defines the city, or what makes you feel comfortable there, or what kind of places people need in a city. So many questions which came out, and we were never asking themselves during the studies, I have to say. And regarding the public space, all these questions, I think they need to be put before the question how. We always talk about the city, we compare it as a living organism, so like the body who has a physical structure and the life which is inside. Also the city has a kind of physical structure as the buildings, the parks, the streets, the greenery, and also the life which for the people inside and all the program which is giving. And the mix of all of it together gives each city something special, something which defines it as how we feel it. So the question was, again, do we have to change our way how we observe the public spaces? Should we maybe perceive, is it like this structure I was telling before, each city is changing all the time. It's growing, it's decreasing, maybe it's not so important for the city. So is maybe the question, should we perceive urban places as events and processes rather than places? But when we ask ourselves this question, we also have to ask ourselves what is public space, or who is the public who is using it? Or, I don't know, am I also a public? Or how can I get involved? How can I interact? How can I be a part of this public? How can I act, react? Or also, how can I domesticate a public space? And how can I be involved as an individual, and how can I be involved as an expert, as an architect maybe? Once Group Ribar said that domestication of the street, it's like the most primal form of feeling at home. So whenever you sweep, the sweeping actually is the primal form of domestication of street. And that is an act which I was surprised to see it here quite a lot in Prishtina, but usually for us it's not that common anymore. For us it was also a way how we started our projects. We were architects, but we didn't have power yet to build big structures, but we started sweeping. And I will explain it a bit more, a bit further, and just about to explain the circumstances when we started working our projects 10 years ago. Ljubljana was kind of a place, when I said before that we were traveling around and realizing how other cities are, that we feel good at those cities. Then we came back to Ljubljana, we were asking ourselves, why don't we feel so good in Ljubljana? What is missing there? And certainly we realized that there aren't so many things which trigger you when you are in the public space. So Ljubljana, I don't know how many of you have been there, but it's quite typical Central European city. It has, in the center, it has a small hill with a castle on it. It has a river which flows around it, an old medieval center, and then a lot of neighborhoods around. So it used to be before not really important part of Austro-Hungarian monarchy, but then after the First World War, it became like the capital of Slovenia and the part of Yugoslavia, and many people from the villages started to move to the city. So the population started growing really fast. And after the Second World War, the population grew even more because of industrialization, and like in 10 years, in 100 years, the population grew 100 times, so from 30,000 to 300,000. And it was growing all until the middle 80s, and then it suddenly started decreasing. Since it grew so fast, the thing was that the people who were living there, who moved there, they moved just because of the job. They were still connected to the way of how they were living before, to the villages, and they didn't have this attitude of being a citizen or being, how do you say it? Yeah, urban. They were not really used the urban way of life. And that's something that is still noticeable, because most of us, we all have small houses on the countryside, and each weekend we just want to escape from the cities. We go out, and sometimes city center during the summertime, it can be totally empty or lately filled only with tourists. So the question is how to make people from Ljubljana feel comfortable in their cities, that they will feel comfortable there, that they will feel that it's their city and that they want to enjoy it, not just enjoy the nature. That year when we started, there was one article in the newspaper which was, this guy who was writing it, he somehow concluded that we don't even need public spaces in the cities, because that's the reason. We have a lot of nature, we want to go out. But then we were asking ourselves again, so is that true? Are we really so special? And why do other cities all function in that way? And we decided that we have to test it. Anna and Dalenka are two colleagues of mine. We established this group together. And our main goal at that time, we decided that let's try to put these public spaces somehow in the consciousness of the people. That was our start. So we decided that every year we would do a kind of a temporary festival through which we will show the people some possibilities, how to use public spaces, which places are public, and what are their rights, how can they interfere in them. So, I can say we started as a local initiative. We didn't have any organization yet. We were just a bunch of enthusiasts who decided that we want to make something that will make people aware of these spaces. So we started the first year with atriums in the old city center, and we just put some very trivial installations inside with this idea to make people aware of these spaces. And the result was quite positive. People started exploring more similar spaces. Some of these patios in the old city center were later transformed into coffee shops, or people wanted that, for example, gardens stay inside. And more every year people were asking, when are we going to do the festival again? So then the next year, for example, we were testing the parks. We chose some parks which didn't really exist on the map. They didn't have names, most of them. And we were trying some different public equipment, something that is usually not used in the park, at least at that time. Or then there was the subject of the river. We put a platform where we could rent for free a boat. And you were exploring the city by the boat. Because at that time, again, I'm saying all the time at that time, because late in the last 8 years, many changes happened. But at that time, you couldn't have any contact with the river, you couldn't rent a boat nowhere. For tourism, so it was a good opportunity for the tourists, and they were renting the boats every next year for I don't know how many years. Now they stopped, but still it was something which stayed. Then one year we decided to work with a children's playground. We realized that there are so many playgrounds in the city, but that they all look the same. They all had same equipment, which is super old, and children are somehow they were bored. They didn't want to go to the playgrounds anymore because it was everywhere the same. And we decided to give to each playground some local character and some which triggers some different way of playing, of senses, of I don't know, climbing, and involves different play of different ways of playing. What happened with this project is that when the day of the opening, municipality decided that they are not gonna give us the permission to do it. So we had to do it on our own risk. We decided, of course, we will do it anyway. Because we somehow trusted the people. Municipality had bad experiences with the parents who were sometimes suing for accidents which happened to the children, and then they were asking for each equipment you put on the playground. They were requiring this special tests, which if you are making such interventions, of course, you cannot get. But what happened after this festival, it was lasting for 10 days, I guess, or 2 weeks. Many parents called to municipality and they wanted that some of these elements stay. And then we made an agreement with the municipality. They invited the inspector. He tested this equipment which they wanted to stay. He just said what we have to repair, and some of them are still there. So with this very small step, we achieved that. Also now, when we are making some kind of playgrounds, municipality is getting more flexible. I'm saying all these things because I want to show that sometimes it's, or at least how we work, is that you have to take some risks. It's the way how you can achieve that things change, because otherwise bureaucracy is very strict, and it's the easiest way for them to say no, and then nothing can change. Another year, the topic was the street. We made a festival we were invited to a festival which the main venue was on one street, which was very narrow, and they wanted that we make kind of small venues for the visitors of the festival. And since there was no other place except the parking lots, we took 10 of the parking lots. We asked the local people from the houses to give us some furniture they don't need anymore, and we created these temporary spaces. But what happened again? Like with all these years, when we were testing the spaces, we achieved that people became more aware of the spaces, But nothing, when we removed these installations, the situation was the same again. We somehow naively believed before that municipality will realize, oh yes, this was such a good idea, let's do this like for real, but it didn't happen. So we thought that somehow we have to involve more the decision makers. We have to more involve the municipality and the government. So 1 year, 2008, we made one-day street festival. We closed the street, which has a very good potential to become pleasant, but it's completely filled with cars. We closed it, we removed all the cars, and we made a one-day event, invited all kind of local groups, and it was like super lively from the morning till the late at night. And the main thing was the visit of Jan Gil. We had the opportunity to invite him. He gave a lecture in the street, but he gave a lecture also on the city council. He talked with the mayor, and this visit was very important for everybody, because at that time the traffic strategy for the city Ljubljana was just in the period where they were preparing it. So he had quite a good influence on the strategy. He came twice more later on, and now our strategy looks like this. And since that time, the city center really closed down for the traffic, and we have, I cannot say we have better public transport, but at least we have less cars in the city. With these projects, when we were trying to involve municipality, we still didn't get enough the involvement of the people. As we did before, we put some installations on the street, we observed how people react to it, but they also didn't feel as part of it. They were just somehow testing it, but they never started doing these kind of things by themselves. We decided that we have to try a project how to do if we involve people from the beginning in the process. In 2010, we were invited to be a part of the network in the city, which they were making investigations about one neighborhood called Tower. It's very near the city center. And as a result of this survey, they realized that the whole neighborhood doesn't have a really strong social center anymore. There used to be very important sport house in the past, and also it was the main meeting point for all the people from the neighborhood. They were having picnics there. Also the whole park at the city center was built from the people from the neighborhood, but in the last 20 years there was again the question of who to maintain it after the change of the system, and it was just falling apart. And slowly, when we were asking people about what do they think of why they think that was possible, there were no lights, there was no equipment, there were some marginal people in the park, and that were also the answers about the whole neighborhood. People even didn't know what Tower neighborhood means. So we started with very small actions. It was I can divide it on 3 levels. One was the very small actions, which were inviting all the local and other initiatives from abroad to make whatever kind of activities they are doing already somewhere else, or if they want to make it in a park. And then we made very small interventions with equipment, but what they were saying they are missing. We installed some hammocks, some very basic benches, chairs, very basic playground, And we installed also some temporary lights. These lights, again, they were not allowed to be put on because nothing is allowed to put on the trees. But we somehow found an excuse that it's just for the New Year's decoration and that we will remove it after December. So they did allow us, but we never really removed them. So for 2 years we did have like new lights in the park and people were very happy, but after 2 years they realized they are still there, so we removed them. These were all the events we were doing, like movie screenings, concerts, games. We have a mobile kitchen which brings food to the park. We make garage sales, art markets. When I'm saying we, it's not really group ProstoRož. In this project we function more as a platform for all the other groups who want to do this event. So there are a lot of groups involved. And the third part of the project, Park Tabor, was also the more long-term project. There were a lot of cars going through the park at that time. And it lasted 4 years. I think that we achieved that they closed it for parks and made some traffic regime around it. So yeah, with this diagram I wanted to show how it all started. So we were like Bunker, Masha, Marco, Zala, Diana, very few individuals from the beginning. Each of us invited more people, and more people invited more people, and this network is just spreading and spreading, and it's changing every year, and that's how more people get involved and a kind of community is creating around this park. And this also creates new possibilities for other projects. They started, for example, one project which is exchange of vegetables, of seeds. They started in the park and now they are like spread all over Slovenia. And also for us, this was just the first project in the neighborhood, and after we somehow get involved in the neighborhood. We knew more people, we knew more what are the needs of the people, and the next year after that, we created a kind of a carpet. To explain it, I have to show it also it was just the project we did before a few months ago in Vienna, and then we transported it to Ljubljana. It's a carpet which represents the neighborhood. Each color represents different public usage, and then we were asking people to mark on the carpet what are their wishes about the neighborhood. So they were all writing them down. At the end we got a catalog of many wishes about what they can do, and it was given to the mayor. He read them all and decided which he can do, for example, in 1 year, which he can do in long term. And one of the wishes was also realized in the same year and promised to the people. That's how Ljubljana got 2 playgrounds. I mean, the Tabor neighborhood got 2 playgrounds. One was just renovated, and another one we added some new equipment. The other project from the neighborhood is the street, Čufarjeva Street. It's one street where there are 4 institutions for the children. Like there are 2 kindergartens, primary school and the secondary school, and it's very small street. You can see it, the Čufarjeva, the green star in the center. And officially that's a pedestrian area. But since there are all these institutions, parents are bringing their children to the institutions by cars. And when they're in the car, they don't mind about other people, and when their child is safe there, they drive really fast. And many people were also pointing this out on the carpet of wishes. So we made a kind of a project where we invited these children from the local schools. There were children from the high school and the children from the kindergarten. And we involved them in a way that they were making some games on the street, and they were painting our street in different colors. They were making some furniture, and the colors were used in a way that they make people in the car aware that there are children. So they're not really permanent, they're now much, they're not so strong anymore, but people got used to it, and now it's really more separated, where people drive by car and where people and children walk. Just one more project from this neighborhood is the fountain in the main square. The square is surrounded by all the museums, and there was a fountain which was constructed at the same time as the square, which is like approximately 10 years ago, but since there were some problems with the water, it never functioned. So last year there was a Triennale of Slovene Contemporary Art, and they asked us if we can do something on the square. We didn't want to make another installation, because already the square is filled with many unfunctional objects which are just on the way. So we decided that we try to find a way how to renovate this fountain. We got, even though the owner is the municipality, the Ministry of Culture, we got some money from the municipality, just that they could, during this festival, they could renovate it, and during the festival they were filling it with water, and the water was cleaned. So that and we put these boats on it where you could sit, and the children used this fountain for the whole summer where they could swim. But what happened after the first month was that all the institutions around this square, they couldn't agree on who is going to maintain the fountain. It was not a question of the money, we had the money, but it's just about the dialogue between the institutions. And after 1 month, the water came like this, it turned out in newspapers, and it was like a big scandal. And that was after that they made an agreement, but before it was really impossible for them to negotiate, and that's how we realized that it's very, very important that besides involving the city municipality or the city council, we also have to start provoking or somehow trying all these institutions and add different departments from the municipality, how to connect them together, that you can get better results if they all collaborate. So the project where we started to enforce this collaboration between different departments and institutions, we started last year. It's in the neighborhood where it's the first neighborhood which was built after the Second World War. When it was planned, it had really a quality public space. It had a lot of greenery, there were a lot of people on the street feeling a part of the neighborhood. The community was very strong. But later on, again, with all these processes in the last 20 years, there were many problems with maintenance of the neighborhood, because nobody maintained them anymore. There were not clear ownerships of the space, and nothing was happening anymore. The community just fell apart, and people were not engaged in the neighborhood. Yeah, we started with again asking people. We connected with local institutions, with local initiatives, and started doing events. We didn't know really at that time how to approach to them, so we thought events are the most primal thing how they would join us. We did workshops, we did working actions, we were cooking pancakes, we were doing small concerts, a movie screening. We started also doing a newspaper, which local people were asking them if they can write the articles, and we created a small small center for information where they could come and ask and tell what are their problems about the neighborhood, and then we became somehow something in between these local people and the decision makers. They created community gardens as well, and yeah, these meetings became really important. So last year, for a few months, we had regular meetings, and people were really getting engaged in the certain problems. They were trying to get the solutions, and they separated in a certain groups. So one group was working on the traffic in the neighborhood, one group was working with the greenery or with the events or just with some kind of background. From this neighborhood was also the playground for the basketball during the less than 1 year, so from December to 13, there was a lady from the neighborhood who decided that she would like to invest in the neighborhood, the renovation of the basketball player, because her son was a basketball player and he died, and all the money she left, she wanted to invest in this renovation. So we went to the local school, we were asking local children, we made the workshops for a long time, how would they like to renovate it. There was quite a long process, and this summer, yeah, we painted it, we made wooden distributions, we made the playground and the running path, and now this area is really, really full of people. And the people from the neighborhood who were at the beginning very skeptical about it, about even us being in their neighborhood, now are starting to trust us and to get involved. Now we are also, it's the same neighborhood again, there is a community house, and we've managed to achieve that one part of the community house which is not used, it will serve as a local community center for the people from the neighborhood, because they don't have even a place to meet. Now it's in the process of renovation, and then we will start working on a different events and yeah. So yeah, that's what I was saying. Somehow in such a way of renovation of the neighborhoods, we were solving not only the physical problems, but also the social and economical problems of the neighborhood. And with all the projects we were doing there and so many people involved, again, this network is getting stronger and stronger. And the same, our team, we started as free architects, and now we are like a mix of many other, Zala, for example, is sociologists, we have technicians, we have graphic designers, there was a geographer in the group. It's always a combination of different knowledges. It's always something which brings better results. And in a way, that's how I wanted to end as well. I think that like all this knowledge that we got through all these projects, we were never really certain about what we were doing. We were always posing questions. We never knew what are we going to get. But with so many questions, you do get some experience and knowledge which you can transfer to the other people and make it wider. So it's really important that all the connections are spreading, and also that whatever we achieve, we also spread to the city, to the system, to the institutions, and to the municipality, because only when they will really understand what's written in their strategies now, because they're all talking about participation, they're talking about sustainability, and all these words which are written in European statements, they still don't understand them really well. So with supporting these kind of local initiatives and partners, I think that it's on us to make the changes, to make them understand. That's all. Thank you.